Who knows? I don't know. Hey, good morning. Welcome to yet another episode of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. It is I, your host, Pogo Kiddo. Hey, check it out. I made it again. Here, let's see if this still works. And I am still, yes, your friend. Okay, this is the final version or final completion of of the three-way rail station. This is the most. This is a very compact version. Uh, you can see on the first iteration over here. Let me just go check it out. You can see here on the first iteration, the first prototype that I made. Look how long, how big it is. Look how spread out it is. It's spread out everywhere. Um, the target is way off over here instead of over by the indicator light. So you're looking away from the where you're going and from what you want to see at the indicator light. And then yeah, it's far apart. Uh, and that's about it. And yeah, it has each light has this station, this kind of situation where the lights go or the redstone inverter. Each one has one of those inverters. Da da da. Okay, now but this is like the sixth prototype of making this rail station, and essentially it's the same idea, except this time the target blocks are right next to the lights that you want to look at, and there's three of them instead of just one, so it's easier to hit. Um, Same mechanism, uh, but the redstone has been compacted. So uh, so I managed to get just two solid blocks instead of three that it took over there, and I've used a lot less redstone. And yeah, and that's about it. And it works really good. And if you want to go if you want to go right, that's what that signal indicates. If you want to go straight, you shoot it, and it will. The tracks over here indicate you will go straight. But if you're on the other side, it indicates you will go left, which is indeed the case. And if you're coming from this side, it indicates you will go right, which is indeed the case. But if you want to change the direction you go, if you want to change it, just got to shoot the target block, and it will automatically switch. And it will go left. Every direction will be correct. It makes you go right, and this one tells you will go straight. So yes, that took a long time to design, but it was really fun to make. I had fun making it and designing it because I saw a need. I saw something that had to get fixed, had to be done, and it was just like compulsion. I don't know. It was just like a thing I wanted to do to solve that problem. How do you solve the problem of tricking or changing the tracks while you're on the track? Have you not ever seen those old movies? It must have been an old western or something. I have a memory of a movie. I don't know if it's black and white or what, but in this movie, the the train is going down the track, and someone on the train or someone not near the switch, but they're far away from the switch, but they use their firearm to shoot the switch, and it goes ding, and then that hits the switch on the train, and then it switches the track, and then the train goes in another direction. I've wanted to do that forever in Minecraft. Especially when I had like someone behind me. When I was like leading um or like telling someone how to use my original train line, it was really confusing. I guess it was pretty maze like. um but I had like I had lots of three-way stops, but the person was always confused because the minecart would have to stop. They would have to figure out they have to press a button. They have to figure out which button makes them go where. They have to not get out of the minecart They have to not get attacked while they're making their decision. It was like a bunch of problems, lots of problems. So in this way, it's really easy. You don't need to leave the minecart. I can do it myself. Uh, and the decision, the important part is that the decision stays. It doesn't like switch back. It doesn't flip flop back. It's not just a pulse delay. It sticks. So that way, if I'm going first and I set it correctly, I don't have to worry about it flipping back the wrong direction for the person behind me. They don't have to do anything. They'll just leave it the way it is, and they'll go in the right direction. So yeah, I dig it. I like it. Three-way intersection. So the intersection looks different depending on which direction you're coming from. All right. Yes, this thing's great. I like it a lot. So now here, get that out of the way. Yes. Yes. That looks excellent. What a fantastic creation. It doesn't matter which target block you shoot. Oh, ha, 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 ha. Oh, ha, 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 ha. This is fantastic. I can just go. This part in here was fun to make because I at first my first idea was to put these target blocks all up here as a massive gigantic mound. Like so it was a gigantic obelisk of target blocks way up high. But I imagined like going and then like looking up like and then trying to shoot it and I'm like it's blocking everything and it looks so bad and you have to extend yourself so much. It's better just to keep it like on the level at the same level as the rider. That way they don't have to really extend too far. It's like right there in front of them if they're looking. Yeah, and then it looks different depending on where you're coming from. So if you're coming at it from this end, it's a red thing. But if you're coming at it from this direction, it's a green thing. And if you're coming at it from this direction, it's a right thing. But if it's not right, then it's left. Ah! Ah! I don't know. What I'm saying is that you're not wrong. It just depends on where you're coming from. All right. All right, let's get on a train. Let's just go on a ride. Is this the right one? This leave me on the loop. Okay, yeah. So I want to go left this time. Let's see if we can go around. Can we go around all the way without changing the tracks after I go once? So the idea is that I can go once without. Ooh, look at that. Oh, I need to go see the new Black Panther. I want to go see it. I should go do that today. After. Yeah, I'm gonna go see the new Black Panther. Okay, so the idea is that if I'm going in the same direction and I take the time to set all the switches one time going in the same direction. That's all it should take. I shouldn't have to do any more switches. I should be able to go in a loop and just like chill. So here's the first one. I don't have to do anything. All right. So I just got to chill until the next decision. And that's not going to be until like the entire way around. I got to go all the way around. So I was thinking about putting another intersection over here at the skinny part. A sort of canal, if you will. uh, um, okay. Anyways, I'm having entirely too much fun here. What's going on? Okay, the first order of business is that we all America are like by this point in the United States, everyone pretty much knows that the the GOP has taken the House. So this has a number of implications, and the way they took the House was primarily through gerrymandering. Uh, there are some key states that made really racist maps for gerrymandering, and then the courts said, no, you can't do that. That's illegal. It goes against the Voting Rights Act. You can't do that. And then John Roberts came in and said, oh yeah, the Voting Rights Act. Yeah, we don't need that anymore. Get rid of it. So John Roberts and the Republicans on the Supreme Court got rid of the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, and they said, okay, since so obviously these maps are racist, we agree, but since we got rid of the Voting Rights Act, you can't you can use them still. You can still use these racist maps. So that's what happened. These Confederate states used these racist maps to draw themselves uh, a win in the House of Representatives. That's why they control it. The problem is that they did not win by a margin big enough for them to have really good control, because the Republican Party is fractured between two camps, at least two camps. You have the cult camp by the name of the MAGA Trump. Uh, they're the crazy camp, and then you have like the business camp, led by Ron DeSantis. Like, I don't know how businessy they are, because like they turned on Disney and they're threatening corporations with the power of the state. Same pretty fascist bullshit, but I don't know. I don't understand. But Mitch McConnell was more of the leader than Ron DeSantis. Mitch McConnell is like the leader of the business party. So you can tell that Mitch McConnell is not really a Trump fan. Like he's on board, but only for power, and he'll ditch the Trump train as soon as it's necessary. Like so, yeah. Those judges up. I've heard it said by smarter people than me that the Supreme Court justices, the Republican Supreme Court justices, are not Trump judges. They're McConnell judges. Okay, wait. This one I have to go right, so I have to shoot it. All right, no problem. So that's the second decision. The next one I have to set it, and then we should be good to go. Then I can go on autopilot mode. Autopilot. So we shall see. But there's the Republicans are pretty split. So in the House of Representatives, I don't know how effective they'll be, because they're so split. It's like a power struggle within the Republican Party. But then the Democrats, right? They're having their vote too. They're having their Nancy Pelosi is retiring, and I don't think it's necessarily because she wants to. I think it's because like her husband got almost killed, and they're threatening to assassinate her. So I think she's quitting because the leadership because she doesn't want like violence on her. And we know this is true. We know this is going to happen because the right-wing media has been playing up this non-stop narrative of negativity and violent threats toward Nancy Pelosi and liberals in general, like the enemies of the right wing. They've been doing it non-stop. It's been going on over and over and over again. So I think there's one more decision to make, and or one more track to switch, and that's it. I have to do this one. It's hard to do because it's not. There we go. I don't have much time to think. It's not clear. That one's a hard one. I gotta rework that one. All right. Now this first one I already set because I shot it, so I shouldn't have to do anything else. This works. I should make a mountain loop. I should make like ooh, I can make like a whole rail a whole like rail system weaving through the mountain. And if I just do these three track switches, I can make custom loops. Custom loops. Yes, yes, that's awesome. I'm gonna make custom loops in Minecraft. Custom tracks. I'm a producer again. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. So that one's set. All these are set. They're all set. They're all set and it works. I can now expand inside the mountain and make custom loops on a track. Oh, damn. It's going to be awesome. Like I was thinking maybe I should make a new world. Maybe I should make a new world. Maybe I should make a new world. Nah. Let's hang out here. This is fun. All right. Okay, now that I know that things are going, I can go on autopilot. So take that off. I need like a calm loop. Do 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 do. But I know what song it is. Ba ba da ba 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 da ba ba ba. Like I know what. Yeah, I just don't know the name of the song. Anyways, but yeah, look at that. Like, so I lowered the view distance out of necessity because I felt that uh I felt that the the video card was not able to keep up with stuff, and I lowered my bit rate, and I'm looking at it, and it's in the red, so I think I must have messed up, or like something didn't quite work out. Maybe the mornings are bad for for streaming. I don't know, but I will have to check that out. Okay, let's moving on here. All right, so that the Republicans, since they're going to take the House, that means they're going to start talking about nonsense again, because that's what they do. When they control the House, the government turns into a big circus. They want to make sound bites for Fox News to play to their audience to enrage their audience because they manipulate. Fox News manipulates its audience through emotion, not through reason, but through emotion. If they can create an anchor and through emotion, every time they touch that anchor, um, to elicit an emotional response. Yeah, they just get an emotional response. So they like anchor Hillary Clinton to like anger and disgust. So It's not a rational thing, but it's an emotional feeling. You feel anger and disgust associated with Hillary Clinton. It's not rational, it's just association. Through association through repetition on Fox News. So every time they mention Hillary Clinton, the audience who's been conditioned to get that is going to feel anger and disgust and bypasses the rational part completely. It's brainwashing. It's brainwashing. Anyways, now they're going to, so that's what they do when they have control of the House. Republicans like further the brainwashing using the government through House probes. That's why there were 7 different hearings on Benghazi, and that's why Hillary Clinton was under oath for 7 hours, and nothing happened to her. Nothing. Republicans had her under oath for 7 hours and got nothing. Why are they still harping on her? Why? They had her, dude. They had her. They had her. If they had any kind of thing whatsoever, that was the moment to nail her. You could have got her on a lie and then got her for perjury. That is super easy, guys. If you could have done it, why didn't you do it, GOP? Why didn't you do it? It's because you didn't want to. If you would have got Hillary Clinton, that would have been killing the golden goose. You would have killed the golden goose. The goose that laid the golden egg. That's what Elon Musk did. When he bought Twitter, he didn't understand Twitter. He thought Twitter itself was the thing that made the gold, made the good stuff. So when he bought Twitter, what he did was he started ripping it up, ripping it open to look at, to find the part inside of Twitter that makes the gold to make it pump out more. But he didn't understand that it's not Twitter itself that makes the good stuff. It's the people that come to Twitter and contribute themselves to Twitter. It's a social product. It's a social thing to make the gold in Twitter. Twitter's just the vehicle. It's not the mechanism by which the gold is created. The goose is just a vehicle. It's not the thing. It's not the gold that from whence the gold comes from. The goose is just the vehicle for the golden egg. So by killing the goose, you killed the vehicle for the golden egg to come out. So Elon Musk, by buying Twitter and ripping it open to find the mechanism that makes the gold, he killed it. And he killed the thing that made the gold. God, Elon Musk is dumb. No, don't say that. Elon Musk is a fool. Anyways, before I go on Elon Musk, before I go there, let me get back on the House Republicans. So what they do is they condition their audience to feel emotions every time they touch certain things, like Benghazi or George Soros or Hillary Clinton or Hunter Biden. So Hunter Biden is their new thing because Hillary Clinton is kind of going away. So they kind of need new flesh to eat. So they chose Hunter Biden. But Hunter Biden is not a brand new thing, right? It's not a new thing. They didn't just start on Hunter Biden. It's been given to them. It was a thing planned from the beginning, 2016, by the Russians. It's a Russian psyop. It's a Russian psyop. It's a Russian psyop. Here, let me show you. Like, don't trust me. Don't believe me. Why would you believe me, right? I'm just some dude on the internet. Listen to Fiona Hill, who used to be the ambassador, or not, if not ambassador, somebody really, really, really important for Ukraine that Trump fired, had to get rid of in order for him to weaken Ukraine. Listen to her. Listen to her give testimony under oath.
Some of you on this committee appear to believe that Russia and its security services did not conduct a campaign against our country, and that perhaps, somehow, for some reason, Ukraine did. This is a fictional narrative that has been perpetrated and propagated by the Russian security services themselves. The unfortunate truth is that Russia was the foreign power that systematically attacked our democratic institutions in 2016. In the course of this investigation, I would ask that you please not promote politically driven falsehoods that so clearly advance Russian interests. As Republicans and Democrats have agreed for decades, Ukraine is a valued partner of the United States, and it plays an important role in our national security. And as I told the committee last month, I refuse to be part of an effort to legitimise an alternate narrative that the Ukrainian government is a US adversary and that Ukraine, not Russia, attacked us in 2016. These fictions are harmful even if they're deployed for purely domestic political purposes. When we are consumed by partisan rancour, we cannot combat these external forces as they seek to divide us against each other, degrade our institutions and destroy the faith of the American people in our democracy.
So Fiona Hill is saying that yeah, Russia is putting a bunch of falsehoods out there, and then Republicans pick them up and repeat them. And Hunter Biden is the conspiracy theory about Hunter Biden is one of them. So let me. I already did a show about this, but like back in 2000 or 2020, I did a show about this 2 years ago. But since it's relevant again, I gotta like bring it up. So let me draw you. Here, let me show you what happened. Let me show you a map first. So we have this. We have here this map of, and you can see Ukraine is here and Russia is here. They're really, really close to each other. They're really, really close to each other. So Russia, when it was the Soviet Union, took control of all this stuff up to half of Germany. And these people, all these people were bumming. They were real, real sad because the Soviet Union was terrible to them. It sucked the life out of these countries and sent it to Moscow. Like it that's literally what it did. It literally that's what imperialism is. That's the nature of imperialism. You suck the life forces, the energy, whatever that energy may be. It's economic. Is it like literally human bodies? Is it your nature, like your natural resources? Whatever is it your economy? Whatever your life thing is, imperialism sucks it out and sends it back to itself. It's the same for Russia, and it's the same for when the UK did it. It's the same when France did it. Like the same when Denmark did it. It's the same when the Netherlands did it. It's the same when Portugal did it and Spain did it. It's the same when the US did it. It's the same. It's the same when Japan did it. It's the same. It's the same. That's why we know it's bad. That's why we stopped. We know it's bad, but Russia doesn't, under Putin, doesn't believe have the same values. Under Putin, his value is power. So the Soviet Union, bit by bit, collapsed. And the last time NATO expanded eastward was in 2004 when Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania joined. That was the last time. Yeah, you had more recent ones, right? But there were like Poland, Turkey's down south, Croatia's way over here, like not even going east. It's going west again, right? Poland was already in, and these guys are the east. Belarus and Ukraine were not in. Finland was not in. Sweden was not in yet. These guys have since joined. Yay! Okay. So, bit by bit, the Soviet Union crumbled, and in 1990, the wall between East Germany and West Germany collapsed, and these guys and Berlin, I guess it was Berlin, in East Berlin and West Berlin collapsed. So Germany, which had been divided between the Soviet Union and Free Germany, it was divided. It was a country divided. One half was free and one half was under the control of the Soviet Union. This thing collapsed. The Soviet Union collapsed, and then so East Germany became free, and then rejoined with West Germany and they became Germany again. Okay, and bit by bit, the influence of Russia fell away from all these states. So think of like the shadow of Mordor had extended as far as this, and then once you defeated or Mordor fell, well, it like started retreating a bit by bit by bit. So now you could look at like Poland as like Gondor. Well, actually, Ukraine is Gondor because it's like on the edge. But like Ukraine was like they're not in this, but they're basically the first country that Russia's gonna bump against, other than these guys and then Belarus. So for ever since uh the Russia, not Russia. Ever since Putin came to power, he wanted to reconstitute the Soviet Union. So to reconstitute the Soviet Union, he had to get control of all the old countries that the Soviet Union used to have control of. So, like obviously he took control of Belarus. And the way he did it was he just corrupted the government. Like there was a government, the people voted for another guy, Navalny, but instead of but Russia arrested Navalny and installed their puppet. And then now Belarus is a puppet of Russia. And Ukraine got attacked by Russia through Belarus. so so what happened to Belarus is what Putin wanted to happen to Ukraine. Putin would have preferred to corrupt the government of Ukraine rather than invade. Invasion's expensive and risky. Corruption's easy, and like it's easy. It's easy to corrupt people. So, that's what he did over here. He just corrupted enough people to arrest the lawful president and installed a puppet who takes direction from Russia. He wanted to do the same thing to Ukraine. For real. For real. He wanted to do the same thing to Ukraine. So let me show you another map. Are you still with me, guys? Are you still there? I hope so. I'm trying to teach you what's going on, and I'm giving my encoder a break. All right. So here, let me show you what's going on. So I'm thinking, when was this? Let me look it up real quick, so I'm not just spouting nonsense. Joe Biden, Council. What year? What year was that? 2008. In 2008. So so now we're in 2008, right? Everyone now knows Zelensky. Yay, and everyone loves the Ukrainian government. Yay, yay, Ukraine, yay. In what year is this? 2022. Everyone, the West loves Ukrainian government, loves Zelensky. Yay, 2022. But that's 2022. That's 2022. Let us go backwards. 14 years. Oh my God. Let's go backwards 14 years to 2008. 2008. So Ukraine is very, very close to Russia. Russia wants to corrupt Ukraine. So what Russia wants to do is install a puppet and a puppet government into Ukraine, and then have Ukraine come back into Russia. The way they're doing the same thing to Belarus. That's what they want to do. So in 2008, Obama and the Democrats come to power. And then what does Joe Biden do? Joe Biden is Mr. Bragging. Check him out.
Convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take
Poroshenko and Yatsenyuk. Poroshenko and Yatsenyuk. Who is Poroshenko and Yatsenyuk? I don't know who Yatsenyuk is, but here, here. You know what? Video. Why don't you just go away? Because I can't. My video card can't handle it. All right. So, what's going on? So, the year is 2008. The year is 2008. The leader of Ukraine is not Zelensky. It's this guy, Viktor Yanukovych. This guy is a puppet. He's a friend of Putin. So he's a puppet. He's not a real guy. He's a puppet. He was in an election. He went for an election, against a candidate. The other candidate was a woman who was a very good pro-democracy person, and everyone loved her. But this guy, Yanukovych, hired a campaign manager by the name of Paul Manafort. So, you know, here, what am I doing here? Ooh, cancel. I should be, I want to draw on this. I wanted to draw last time, well, not with paint. I figured out the way to do it. It was with snip. Snip and sketch. This is the way to do it. This is the way. Do 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 ba 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 ba. Wah 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 wah. Yes. Wah 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 wah. Oh yeah, this is awesome. Yes. Okay. Okay. So check this out. Here's how this works. All right. Here's the connections. Okay. So we're gonna make I need to show up. Um, that line. Okay, so these guys are connected. This guy is Paul Manafort. He was a campaign manager. So there was an election between him and some other woman, and he hired Paul Manafort to help him win the election. Paul Manafort used this campaign of lying, and he made up this chant of lock her up," and through lying and through manipulation, through fake news, he won. He got this Russian puppet to win. So this guy's a Russian puppet, but everyone hated him. But he's the Russian puppet in power for right now. Okay, so now Ukraine is saying to the West, "Oh yeah, give us money because we might join you guys. Give us money." But the West under Obama's like, "I don't know. I don't know if we can trust you. I don't think we can trust you yet." So, um, so Viktor Yanukovych had a attorney general by the name of Viktor Shogun, right here. But do you see how they're connected? Russia or Putin is connected to him, and he is connected to this guy. This guy's dirty. This guy's dirty. So he's corrupt, and he's the attorney general. So he works in the in Ukrainian justice system, and he's corrupt. He's on Team Russia. Okay, that's what's going on, right? Do 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 do. You see the connections here? Okay, let me keep going.
Convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yats.
Poroshenko. Poroshenko. You know, I need to make this smaller. Get out of the way, dude. You're important, but not that important. Okay, here we go. So Poroshenko, he is the owner. He's also with Team Russia. He's the owner of Burisma. He owns Burisma. Or Burisma. He owns, this is Burisma. That's the corporation, Burisma. So,
That they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't.
oh wait, no, he's not the state. He's not the owner. I think this guy's the owner. Dude, I gotta look again. Let me look again. Poroshenko. Who's Poroshenko? Poroshenko. I want to make sure I get this. Businessman who served as the fifth president for Ukraine, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Minister of Trade and Economics. So he's like the minister. He's like a government official. So yeah, these guys are connected. These guys are connected. These guys are connected. These guys are connected. Okay. So he's a government minister.
So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, what, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son.
Who's the prosecutor? Shokin. Shokin's. Oh, dude.
Convincing us that we should be providing for.
Shokin is the prosecutor. This guy's corrupt. Call. He's corrupt. They want to get so Joe Biden says you need. Joe Biden is telling this guy Poroshenko to get rid of Shokin, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. That's what he's saying. Get rid of this guy, this corrupt guy, or we're not going to give you $1 billion.
Loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, what, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid, convincing us that we should be providing for loan.
So yeah, okay. So what happened? During this time, something crazy happened. Putin hatched a plan. What was it? I think this guy is a dirty guy, and he was doing something dirty through this company Burisma, and they knew it was dirty, and the UK wanted to do an investigation into that's the wrong color. Into Burisma. The UK wanted to look into Burisma. So this is the owner of Burisma, Zalewski. He had this plan. He's connected. They're all connected, right? All these dudes are connected. All these Russians are connected. That guy is connected to that guy. All these guys are connected. He had this plan to use Burisma and then to get these guys on board. Hunter Biden. He didn't really know what he was doing. He was dumb. He was just trying to make money using his name. So he signed on to this board saying, "Hey, if we let us put your name on this board of directors, you don't have to do anything, but we'll cut you a check." And Hunter Biden's like, "Sure, dude. You want my name to be on this board, and you'll give me money? Okay, dude. Sure." But it's a Russian dude. It was a trap, because then once Hunter Biden's name was on Burisma, they could say, "Oh, look, Hunter Biden is inside dirty stuff. Look at what we just found on him. Look at him. Oh, he's dirty now. Look at." That's the whole conspiracy. The general sentiment among industry experts on the ground in Ukraine is that Burisma brought two high-profile Americans with no energy experience on board. That's Hunter Biden and some other guy, in an attempt to gain legitimacy. given Zalewski's tainted history. Zalewski is that guy. Is this dude with Zalewski is this dude with who's connected this way. So he brought on Hunter Biden in order to gain legitimacy, even though Hunter Biden's not really an energy expert. The timing is significant. Biden and Archer officially joined the Burisma board right before the UK investigation that led to the asset freeze was announced. It was Shokin, the Ukrainian prosecutor. Shokin, this guy. All right, this guy, Shokin, the Ukrainian prosecutor, whose ouster Biden, the EU, supported, who then tanked the Burisma investigation by refusing to turn over evidence to the UK. The US correctly called out Shokin for letting Burisma off the hook. So they wanted to get rid of this guy because he wouldn't prosecute this guy because they're on the same team. And Hunter Biden was a dumbass and joined the energy team because these guys would pay him money. And he didn't know better. He didn't realize he was walking into a trap. That is the entirety. That's the whole thing of the Hunter Biden thing. That's the whole thing. These guys want to tell you that Hunter Biden is corrupt and that Hunter Biden is through Burisma is doing the whole Ukraine thing, but that's a lie. Don't buy what they're trying to sell you. This is the entirety of the whole conspiracy that they're trying to sell you. It's right here. These guys, the Ukraine or the UK wanted to investigate Burisma, and Shokin blocked them. Shokin blocked them from investigating Burisma, and then this guy, Zelensky, the owner of Burisma, got Hunter Biden to join Burisma right before the investigation, so that there would be a connection there. They wanted that connection there. They wanted these people to be connected, so they later on they could point to it. You can't see it like that. They wanted this. And like this. They wanted Hunter Biden to be connected like that. I mean, I'm kind of doing Redstone, right? This is kind of relevant to Minecraft. This is basically Redstone. I'm showing you the Redstone behind the Hunter Biden conspiracy theory that they're trying to sell you. The narrative that they're trying to sell you is that Hunter Biden is corrupt and hooked up with the Russians. But that's a false thing that the Russians are trying to sell you. And by repeating it, you're just repeating what the Russians are telling you. I'm telling you what really happened. What really happened was this guy used to be on Team Russia and had a bunch of corrupt dudes in the Ukrainian government. In 2013, the Ukrainian people staged a revolution and threw out that corrupt guy. They protested for like a month in the winter time, dude. They had a giant fountain of ice that they were protesting in front of the Capitol building. It was no joke, dude. They were dying. They were getting shot by government snipers. They were dying. It was like a bad government. And in the end, that corrupt dude, Yakonovich, where was he? This corrupt dude here, he fled back to Moscow. And then they had a new election, and who won the election? Zelensky. So after the puppet left Russia or Ukraine, then Zelensky was elected, and everyone knows and loves Zelensky. Zelensky's a good guy. That's why now we're all good. Yeah, let's support Ukraine. And then that's why Russia was forced to use military to attack Ukraine. It couldn't corrupt Ukraine like it corrupted Belarus. It tried to corrupt Ukraine. It had Donald Trump do everything he could to isolate Ukraine. That was why we impeached him the first time. because Congress already agreed to give aid to Ukraine, and Donald Trump stole the aid for himself and said, if you don't push my conspiracy theory about Hunter Biden, then I won't give you this aid that we've already promised to give you. That's what Donald Trump did. He wanted Zelensky to push the false narrative about Hunter Biden. I mean, it's all connected. It's all connected. Just follow the redstone. It's a little complicated, but once you start following it, it's not that hard. I think the hardest part is getting the names down. If you get the names down, because they're really foreign names, but if you can get the names and connect them to faces and draw lines, it becomes really, really, really clear. Super clear. Okay. But Republicans are going to waste a whole bunch of time trying to convince Americans that the Hunter Biden thing is a real thing when it's not. I mean, if Hunter Biden did do bad things, then yeah, absolutely prosecute him if he did bad things. But like, the whole laptop thing sounds like it's a conspiracy theory sent by Russia. And it kind of is. And by repeating it, you're just repeating what Putin wants you to say. Okay, that's out of the way. The other bad thing that happened this morning. That like, I'm just, it's like almost 9 o'clock right now. And we find out that in Colorado Springs, Colorado, at least 5 people were killed in a shooting. Some 22-year-old guy with a long gun, not a pistol, a long gun, walked into a nightclub and just started shooting people. He wasn't like threatened. He wasn't being like anything. He just walked in and killed innocent people. Why is that significant? Look what she said. Look what she said in June. Look what Lauren Boebert said in June. She said in June that the left is grooming our kids over LGBTQ inclusive flashcards. Like, Republican drew attention to North Carolina incident one day ahead of Pride Month. I don't know what she's talking about. She's probably taking something out of context. That's what the right does. That's what she does. She's a fascist. She's a fascist. She's just, and then fascists don't believe in truth, they believe in power. So what she's doing here is directing hate toward a group of people. Just toward a group of people. That's what Nazis do. That's what she's doing. And that creates conditions, that makes conditions conducive to the appearance of violence directed at LGBTQ people. That's what she wants. She wants bad things to happen towards LGBTQ people. That's the black magic that she's using. She's using black magic. The black magic is called stochastic terrorism. So she's making it more likely. I mean, she's not doing it herself. She's not physically holding the gun. She's not writing out instructions exactly telling you to do stuff. But there's lots of pictures with her holding guns. There's lots of pictures of her shooting guns. There's lots of words of her encouraging, of her promoting white supremacy. There's a lot, and then there's lots of incidences like this of her encouraging violence, like using lies to paint negative frames of innocent people, to encourage bad things towards them. She doesn't have to do it, but she can insinuate it, and weak-minded people will follow through with what she insinuates. I mean, everyone knows the Jedi mind trick. Everyone knows it. That's what she's doing. That's what she's doing. She's using her Jedi mind trick over the airwaves in order to get weak-minded people to follow through on her suggestions, which is stochastic terrorism. It's the same thing that happened to to Nancy Pelosi's husband. Stochastic terrorism. The right uses its black magic to Jedi mind trick against its weak-minded followers to follow through with violence towards people that offer them no threat whatsoever. That's called being a Nazi. That's called being a fascist. That's called being a Confederate. That's called being a white supremacist. You need a thesaurus? Legislators responded to the 2018 Parkland school shootings by hiring police officers in every elementary, middle, and high school in Florida. It didn't make students safer. Instead, it led to this. The percent of youth arrests happening at schools hit a 5-year high of 20%. The number of students expelled from school increased 43%. For the first time ever, there are more police officers working in Florida schools, 3,650. Then there are school nurses, who number 2,286. The number of police officers in schools is more than double the number of school social workers, 1,114, and school psychologists, 1,452. There are more cops in schools than people there to help kids. Cops are not there to help kids, obviously, because more kids are in jail, in the incarceration system, because put more cops in schools. But cops aren't safer because of, or kids aren't safer because of cops in schools. The cops aren't there for the safety of the kids. The cops are there for the safety of society, of white supremacist society. That's why the cops are there. Not for the safety of the kids, but for the safety of the white supremacist society. We know this. All we have to do is look at Uvalde, Texas. The cops totally did not care about the safety of the kids. They cared about enforcing white supremacy. And then the people voted to uphold white supremacy. In other words, the white idol of white supremacy requires blood sacrifice. And the followers of the white idol are willing to do it. They're okay with it. They're willing to give up blood sacrifice to the white idol to maintain power. That's why you have to defund the police. That's why you do it. Because the police are an instrument of violence, of white supremacy. They're there not for your protection, but for the enforcement of white supremacy. They are literally the agents that you see coming out of people in the Matrix. They're agents of social control. Literally agents of social control. Where'd that go? Was it back here? Where was it? It was like, it's important I show you. It was like go. If the cops, it was a meme. It said, if the cops have no duty to protect you, then what are they there for? Like, if they're not there to protect you, why are they there? They're not there to protect you. They're not there to keep you safe. Why are they there then? If they have no duty to protect you, what is their duty? Oh, I can't believe I lost it. Oregon shooting. Damn it, where'd it go? Nope, that's not the one. I don't know where it went. Oh no. Oh, that's the one. That's the one. If the cops have no duty to protect you, then the only point of their existence is to be used against you. If the cops have no duty to protect you, then the only point of their existence is to be used against you. And this is borne out by looking at the events of Uvalde, and then looking at what happened to the governor. He got reelected. He got reelected by the people of Uvalde. They're like, oh, it requires us. white supremacy requires us to sacrifice our children to keep it going. Okay, that's just so you know what you're dealing with. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Hunter Biden. Here, here's a picture of Hunter Biden with the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who soon after this was taken paid him $2 billion for his top secret business acumen. The woman on the right owns lots of Chinese trademarks. Oh wait, that's not Hunter Biden. That's a picture of Jared Kushner, and that's his wife, Ivanka Trump. Ivanka Trump, or Jared Kushner, sold information to Mohammed bin Salman for $2 billion. He got $2 billion from Mohammed bin Salman, and then he used his connections in the United States government to give him information. Like, what kind of information? Like, where are the whereabouts of Jamal Khashoggi? That kind of information. He paid $2 billion to Jared Kushner. Like, why do the Republicans not care about that? Why do they not care about that? They have been chasing this Hunter Biden story forever, but they ignore this very real fact that Jared Kushner took $2 billion. But wait a minute, how did he get top secret clearance? How did that happen? Like, he got denied clearance. He was denied clearance for I don't have it. But yeah, Jared Kushner was denied top secret clearance. So he couldn't get in there because he was deemed a security risk. Then Donald Trump overruled the FBI and gave him security clearance anyways. And then Jared Kushner used his security clearance to sell secrets for himself. He sold U.S. secrets for his own benefit. And then a bunch of people in the CIA, a bunch of informants, got killed, got murdered. Because Jared Kushner sold all our secrets. But the right doesn't care about that. They only care about Hunter Biden. That's so weird. I mean, if Hunter Biden did something wrong, by all means, get him. But, like, so far, it looks like they're just making things up. It looks like they just want to distract away from something else. What's the thing they want to distract away from? White supremacy. The white supremacy insurrection that tried to overthrow the government, that the leaders of which have not yet been held accountable. I'm still waiting for those leaders to be held accountable. Still waiting. I haven't forgotten, guys. I haven't forgotten. I'm just as angry now as I was on January 6th. I'm just as angry. It's always telling when people make comparisons and say, because A is bad, B should be bad too, rather than because B is good, A should be too. For example, I love unions. I love unions. I love unions. The fact that I can have this show and talk to you is number one, because I live in the United States. Yes, yes. All right, that's great. Go USA. Right, that's one thing. That's so I can have this show right now because I live in the United States. I have freedom of speech. But another reason I can have this show, because there's a layer of freedom of speech that they don't tell you about. Like the freedom of speech you have, like in law written in the Constitution, is government. The government can't come and get you for what you say. Like Ron DeSantis is breaking this right now in Florida, but that's another point. All right, but in but in so in government, the government can't come and get you what you say. That's in the Constitution. However, that doesn't protect you from the consequences of what you say. There's still consequences for what you say. And one of those consequences for what you say in the United States is that someone can tell your employer can disagree with what you say and then terminate your employment. And then now you are unemployed. Sure, you're free to say whatever you want, but then you have to accept the consequences of what you say. So, if you say something that displeases your employer, that your employer can use his power or use their power to just take away their employment of you, and then now you starve. No skin off their back, you just starve. So do you really have freedom of speech if you're only allowed to say what your employer lets you say? However, there is this organization called a union where the workers recognize that they're in the same boat. Everyone recognizes they're in the same boat. Like, there's one thing that binds all these people together, irregardless of their race, their religion, their sexual preference, their anything. Like, it doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. The one thing that matters, that they try to keep you distracted from, the one thing that matters is your material conditions. Material conditions. The material world. What is actually here. This is the thing they are trying to distract you from. They want you off on a fantasy land, on a red herring fantasy conspiracy ride, and ignoring what's actually in front of you. The material conditions. When you look, relative conditions, your condition with, I guarantee you, if you're listening to me, your condition to a homeless person, your relative condition is closer. You're closer to a homeless person in terms of material relation, relative material to wealth. You're closer to a homeless person than you are to Elon Musk. Elon Musk is an alien who has no conception of your consciousness. You literally cannot connect on a like, you can superficially perhaps, but Elon Musk cannot understand what you understand. He cannot. He doesn't have it. It's beyond him. If he ever understood it, his brain would explode. He can't do it. He can't. It's an internal contradiction. It would destroy him if he were to overcome it. If he understood what you understood. So to get back to my point, we're so we have to recognize lots of people have the same relation to the material world. They're closer to the homeless person than they are to Elon Musk. When people recognize that, hey, I'm like one paycheck away from being homeless. Hey, that guy over there is one paycheck away from being homeless, and that woman over there is one paycheck away from being homeless, and that trans person over there is one paycheck away from being homeless, and that person over there is one paycheck from being homeless, and all of us, even though we look and pray differently, and even though we look and pray and talk differently, we all have the exact same relationship to the material world. Precarious. And it's that way for a reason. It's not an accident. It's not like, oops, how did this happen? The system is designed to make it like that, so that you don't notice that you're so on edge that you don't notice that, hey, I'm in the same boat as all these other people that I'm hearing that I should be angry at. But really, we're on the same team. So, and when you recognize that everyone's on the same team, then you can start organizing and acting together to protect your shared interests. If everyone's in the same boat, then everyone should be rowing in the same direction. So one way to help all these people, these disparate people out, all sorts of different kind of people, one common way that unites all these different random people is the connection to the material world. So you want to increase, you want to like to Yeah, to increase their material uh wealth, their material well-being, their material well-being. You want to increase their material well-being. All of them. That's what connects them. They all want to ensure and protect their material well-being. So they come together and form another relationship called a union. All these working people come together and create a union. I love unions. I love unions. And these unions are a bulwark, a protection against the owners of the corporations, the bosses. They are the bulwark. That is why I am able to say what I can say right now. I'm not saying anything hateful. I'm not saying anything bad. What I'm doing is drawing attention to material relations and to race relations. The things that the ruling class does not want you to hear. And that if a capitalist boss heard me talking like this, they would fire me. But they can't because I'm in a union. I'm in a union. We protect each other. I got your back, you got mine. They can't fire me. I'm in a union. And I get benefits from this being in the union. I get like health care, I get higher pay, I get better working conditions, I get I just get better relations. My life is better. My whole life is better because I'm in a union. I'm able to do this show and communicate with you because I'm in a union. It's not because I'm in the United States. That's part of it, but that's not enough. What I need more is to be in a union so that my material well-being is okay. No one can come fire me for what I say unless I say something stupid like not what a Nazi would say. Come on, then you're spreading stupid hate and like, that's un-American. Don't do that. But I'm not spreading un-American stuff. What I'm spreading is awareness of your material relation and how that connects you to all your other human beings. And that's why you need to overcome those perceived differences, those things that you think make you different. What that is control. Ultimately, it comes down to control. Like individuality is great. Individuality is wonderful. I love individuality. And I think it's fantastic that the West has honed in on so much individuality, right? But there's a poison inside the individuality. There's inside of it, it's like a feedback mechanism, right? If you go too far, you're gonna fall off. That with individuality, like everything else, there's a balance. So, and individuality is great. In fact, we had to push the boundaries of individuality in order to recognize the inherent goodness of collectivism. You had to push the boundaries of individuality. But look at here's where it comes to an end, right? There's a natural limit to individuality. Um, dude, I had it and I lost it. There's a natural limit to individuality. Oh, dude, what was it? Shit. Need to get more coffee. There's a natural limit to individuality. What is that natural limit? Um, dude, it was gonna be nice. There's a natural limit to individuality. Come back here, come back here. Um, oh yeah. Um, yeah. Well, there's shit. If you're too individualistic, you lose your connection to the whole, and you forget that you're connected, and then you start making dumb decisions. Okay, and I had this whole thing going, and I lost it. Oh shit! Oh, unions. That's right, unions. Okay, yeah, individualism is good, but the individual needs the whole. If you forget that you're connected to everyone else, then you like fall off the cliff. So um yeah, okay, there it is, there it is. Yeah, there's the individual. I found it. Okay, I found it. Okay. There's a limit. There's a natural limit to individualism, right? Because if you go too far into individualism, then you start veering off into control. That that that's the contradiction. If you go too far into individualism and you forget that you're connected and you're actually one, then you move into the realm of control, where and control necessarily means you objectify the thing you're doing because you want to control it. Um, you turn it into an object. You take away its agency. It's it's take away its agency, its self-determination, that divine spark, its divinity. You deny its divinity by making it an object. You deny its aliveness by making it an object. Deny its humanity by making it an object. And that's control. So if you go too far on individuality, then you move into control, and that's like the natural limit. That's the balance you have to get. How far can you be an individual without controlling other individuals? That's the key. How far can you be an individual without controlling other individuals? How strong can you be collective without imposing harshly upon the individuals within your collective? How like it's a huge balancing act. It's like so when I want to go back to like the ancient Greeks, I'm telling you, like they had to figure out everything the first time because no one else had done it, at least not written down for that side of the world from their little area. And so like they had to figure out like Odysseus was really important because he had like an internal world that had never really been talked about before. It was a rich internal world. Well, not really rich, but it spoke about it and it about this internal world, and it was celebrated. And it'll like at one point he was able to to I forget, I don't know, remember the whole story, but he was able to trick someone. Like it was a test, and like the big bad guys were like, "Oh, look at these guys over here. Are they your buddies?" And he's like, "No, they're not with me." And they were with him. They were his friends. Right? But he's like, "No, they're not my buddies." And he's like, "Oh, really? They're not your buddies. So if I do this, you're not gonna care." And he's like, "No, it's cool. I don't care." But inside he's like, "Ah!" But on the face he's like, "No, it's cool, dude. It's all right." He held it in. He held it in. Well, they hadn't really written about that before. It was like a new cultural thing for them. See, culture's weird. Like, yeah, culture's cool. Okay, so that was further developed. There was a poet by the name of Sappho, and everyone, not everyone, but there was a rumor that she was a lesbian, but that's not true at all. It had nothing. None of her poems were about lesbian stuff. Like I've read some of them. They're pretty good. And oh dude, what's that one poem? I gotta just or that we only have some of these ancient poems. We only have fragments. So like I can't. We don't have the whole thing. Poems. But there's one that I have to that I love that I have to give you. Here. Well, no. Yeah, a bunch of these are just fragments. Now, listen. Sappho. Although they are only breath, words which I command are immortal. Yeah, dude, Sappho. Let's see. He is more than a hero. He is a god in my eyes, the man who is allowed to sit beside you, he who listens intimately to the sweet murmur of your voice, the enticing laughter that makes my own heart beat fast. If I meet you suddenly, I can't speak. My tongue is broken. A thin flame runs under my skin, seeing nothing, hearing only my own ears drumming. I drip with sweat, trembling shakes my body, and I turn paler than dry grass at such times. Death isn't far from me. I kind of butchered that one. All right, enough of this one. Enough of Sappho. I'm just saying they did the poets back then, like all that love stuff, they didn't really have an internal like world. They had to like, I mean, it was there but not really developed. So Sappho was like the first one of the great poets of her age to write love poetry and develop this idea of an internal world for the Greeks. So you had to have an internal world to help you understand the external world, to separate it out, right? Once you understand yourself internally better, you're able to relate to other things around the world better and to relate to other human beings. So that sappy love poetry when you're a teenager, that was important. That was internal development. Sappho, like there was an entire Greek, like, yeah. That was really important development stage, is what I'm saying, for consciousness. All right. But yeah, individuality. When you go too far with individuality, you fall off the cliff. Let's see. The only results that interest many in the House majority are those that inflict political pain on Mr. Biden and congressional Democrats, as demanded by their MAGA constituents. In a closed door meeting of Republicans on Monday, right wing lawmakers, included Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, extracted a promise that the leaders would investigate Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the Justice Department for their treatment of defendants jailed in connection with the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Their treatment is better than the treatment in most in like some federal prisons. They're getting treated really well. McCarthy has said that when new Congress is seated on January 3rd, House Republicans will immediately vote to repeal the $80 billion in new funding for the IRS that was included in Biden's Inflation Reduction Act to help crack down on tax cheats and ramp up enforcement. That very first day, we'll repeal these new 87,000 IRS agents because who are they after? Tax cheats. Who are tax cheats? Donald Trump, rich people. That's why the Republicans want to defund the IRS, because the IRS goes after rich people to make them pay their taxes. If like, do you not pay your taxes? Chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, you or your parents get a paycheck every month where your taxes are your payroll tax is automatically deducted. Automatically. You don't even get a chance to like take it out and cheat. It's just automatically taken out. If anyone cheats, it would be your employer, not you. So for 99% of for like the vast majority of people, you're not a tax cheat because you can't, because it's automatically deducted. The people who cheat on taxes are rich people. They're the people who have, who want to not pay taxes. They have the money, and so they want to not pay taxes. So they're the ones who want to defund the IRS. So all the Republicans are promising is that they're going to help rich people avoid taxes. That tells you where they stand, who they are. Remember, oh yeah, to get back to my original point. So yeah, people who hate on unions, it's like it's silly to hate on unions. That's right. That was the whole point. It's silly to hate on unions. To go back to this one, I remember now. It's silly to say like, oh, look at those union people with all their benefits. We should take those away. We should get rid of unions. Instead of saying that, like they say I don't get paid holidays. I don't get health care. I don't have a good wage. I don't have protection from my boss to say whatever I want. Like, why should they have it? I've met people like this. They don't like unions because they don't get the benefits that unions have. So they want to get rid of unions. It's like, why would you be anti-union? Why, if you say A is bad, then B should be bad too. Why? Why should I be your friend, dude? If you don't if you look at me and say, "Oh, what you have is you shouldn't have all these good things because you don't have all those good things." You should be saying, "Hey, Mr. Union Man, look at all those good things you have. Why don't I have them?" And I'll say, "Yeah, you're right. Why don't you have them? That's a good idea, dude. Let's work together to help you get these benefits. Let's work together. Let's not be enemies. Let's work together." That's the whole point. Like, imperialism is implicitly competitive. But we have learned that humans work best cooperating. Cooperation is the default, not competition. Cooperation. Imperialism, this map of Russia always invading its neighbors and trying to take it over and take their stuff and pull it back, that is the old way of thinking when there wasn't enough. That's the old way of thinking, to go invade your neighbors, to control them and take their stuff. That's control. We want to move past the idea of control. We don't want to control anyone. We don't want to control them. We want everyone to be cool and to follow the rules. If you follow the rules, then you don't. There's agents don't need to appear spontaneously. So just as this idea of government imperialism power is a failure, it has like implicit contradictions, and one of those is that it invades other people to control them and take their stuff, whereas democracy is all about lack of or cooperation. People work together. That's what we need to do, is work together to get things done. And if we have a common vision, if we have a map, if we all have a map and a common vision, we can row the boat in the same direction. So instead of saying, look at those people, look at how good they have it, we should take it away, we should be like, look at those people, look how good they have it, why don't we have it this good? And then work to make those and work to make sure that everyone has the good stuff. Now I got my point back. I had a little detour, but I got there. What was that about? McCarthy. Fuck McCarthy. Yeah, see, you can tell what he's McCarthy and the Republicans are on team rich people, because the IRS agents aren't coming after you or me, they're coming after the rich people who aren't paying their taxes. And that's why McCarthy wants to stop them. Yeah, take SROs out of schools. What a the percentage of youth arrests happening, yeah, 5-year high at 20%. The number of students expelled from school increased 43%. For the first time ever, there are more police officers working in Florida schools than there are school nurses. Yeah, I read this already. Like, school cops in schools are only there to enforce white supremacy. They're not there to help the kids. Qatar World Cup. Report reveals more than 6,500 migrant workers have died in Qatar's World Cup prep. Like, I'm going to feel bad watching the World Cup this year because I know that the stadium was built with slave labor. I am closer to those people who died than I am of the owners of the stadium. I'm closer to the people who died than I am of the guy who owns the stadium. So like, look at that contradiction. How can I watch this show and identify with how can I watch the World Cup and identify with the owner of the World Cup when I know that the World Cup was built with slave labor and people died? 6,500 people. That's 6,500 people died building the fucking World Cup in Qatar. That's like disgusting. That like, and I'm gonna watch it and know that I like my basically the guy next to me, because like if I understand that I look at things in terms of material relations, the people who died building that World Cup were sitting right next to me. They were literally right next to me. We were really close in material wealth. He was working there. Those slaves were working there because they were economic slaves. They had no choice. They came from poor countries and they were just looked at as disposable. And so they were shipped in from poor countries to extract their labor and then throw away their bodies and like as nothing, to ignore their humanity, to ignore their divinity. The internal contradiction of capitalism. So how can I watch the World Cup like that? I don't know. It's gonna be weird. So we look at this map and we're like, oh, look how far that away that is. Look at Ukraine and Russia, the war. Look how far away it is. Look how far away it is. You can't even see the United States on this map. But I'm telling you, just because it looks like in 3 dimensions it's far away, on another level, we are super close. We're super close. Do you think this conflict is only over here? Remember when I first started doing my show, uh what prompted me to go like hardcore? For me to go hardcore was images. I needed to view. Where's that picture? I was going to the Salem Saturday Market just because that's what I did in Carson City. I would go to the Carson City Saturday Market just to walk around and look what's there, just to buy stuff. And then one day, walking around Salem Saturday Market, I noticed a group of people sitting right in the middle and holding signs and talking right-wing stuff. And I got super angry. I started yelling at them incoherently because I was just overcome. Then the next day, the next weekend, they showed up with chairs to sit in the chair and hold a sign saying all sorts of bad right-wing things. And like I got angry, but I couldn't do anything. So the next weekend, I showed up with my sign. My sign said Trump is a traitor. He's the enemy of the people. That's what my sign said. And I stood there with my sign. And the right-wing people saw me and they called the police on me. They called the police and lied to the police about what I was doing. They called the police. Like it wasn't the first time. That was funny. It wasn't the first time. They did it like 10 times. Over the years. They called the police on me for holding a sign that says Donald Trump is a traitor. And then what happened? What made me go hardcore? This guy right there. Let me get me out of the way. This guy right there started showing up in 2018 and he had a sign that said Russia is not the enemy. Who is? Wall Street. But he said the government, the United States, this is all the United States government. And then when he says the news media, he's not talking about Breitbart or Fox News. He's talking about any other mainstream media that isn't right wing. And for him, pro-war parties is basically Democrats. He doesn't. He's saying Russia is not the enemy. He's on Team Russia. He's on Team Russia. This guy right here was on Team Russia, showed up at the Salem Saturday Market and held a big ass sign that said that and was happy about it. No one batted an eye. He put signs up everywhere. He put signs up everywhere. Nobody batted an eye. No one cared that he put up a sign saying that Russia is not the enemy. No, it was the United States who was the enemy. So I and there I am, right? This guy called the police on me. He called the police on me because I was standing there with my sign. So for a while, they've been trying to create a narrative, a false narrative. For a while, they've been trying to create a false narrative that that um that that is happening, right? In Salem, that happened at the Salem Saturday Market. And I noticed at the Salem Saturday Market, a lot of Russian people walking by were really angry at me in Salem. And there I am, pro-Ukraine, anti-Trump. This is back in 2018. Okay. Then what happened? What happened? Salem man accused of assaulting Ukrainian refugee, charged with bias crime. This happened in November. So a Salem man was charged Wednesday with assaulting and seriously injuring a Ukrainian refugee in May because of his national origin. Prosecutors charged Boris Miroshnichenko, 41, with second-degree assault and first-degree bias crime in a Marion County Circuit Court. So what happened is Ukraine, the United States accepted refugees. People like live in Russia or live in Ukraine, and then the Russian army comes and is going to kill them and murder their men and rape their women and molest their daughters and then send their children back into slavery, back into Russia. So all these Ukrainian people are like, run away! And then bombs fall from the sky and blow up their house. They can't live anywhere. There's nowhere to live. The Russians are coming. They run away. Like, where are they going to go? So the United States is like, yo, we'll take a few refugees. And so some refugees running from the Russian war that destroyed their homes came to the United States. Now they're here in Salem, right? But you understand that in Salem there are Russians already here, already trying to cause problems. Already since 2018. It's not a new thing. Since 2018, the Russians have been here trying to cause problems. So this Ukrainian refugee comes to the United States, comes to Salem, Oregon, to get away from the Russians. And he meets a Russian guy. And I guess because their languages might be similar enough they can like talk. I don't know. I don't know what the thing was, but they got into a discussion about the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And the Russian guy is pro-Putin. So he invited the Ukrainian guy out back into the shed. And the Ukrainian guy thinking, oh, we're going to go like be friends now. We're going to hang out and be cool and not be angry anymore. So he's like, I don't know why. He's a refugee. He doesn't understand that here in America it can be dangerous. So he's a refugee like fleeing from war. So he goes into the back, into the shed, and then they fucking lock it. They lock him in the shed. They lock him in some shed, and then two guys beat the shit out of him. They fucking beat his face so bad that his one eye is blind, and the other eye he can't see out of anymore. The dude is a Ukrainian fleeing the Russian war from Ukraine, and while he's in the United States, in Salem, Oregon, some Russian guys lock him in a shed and beat the shit out of him. Man, the Russian war is here. It's here. It's not far away. It's not like somewhere abstract. It's not a pretend thing. Your material relationships are real. They're real. They're real. And it's happening here. It's not a faraway thing. It's here and now. And it's not a new thing. It's happened since 2018. Since 2018. Since 2018. That picture was 2018. Where is it at now? I gotta find it. 2018. That's 2018 when he did it. And this is 2011 or 2022. 4 years. 4 years of Russian assault. All right. Now, remember, I told you, people who go too far off the edge of individualism become control freaks, and they lose their humanity. And then they start pumping out nonsense like this stuff right here. Uh, Hardcore workers, you want them to sleep at the office. Like they want to control his. They want to. Elon Musk wants to like squeeze as much information and profit out of the workers of Twitter as he can before he discards them and throws them away. Because to Elon Musk, workers are just things. They're just objects. They're not actually people. He doesn't look at them as if they're human, but tools for him to use to get to squeeze out of the most juice before he throws them away. That's when you've gone so far off the edge of individualism that you've totally lost any connection to humanity. He's just not there anymore. Yeah, you want to know another way of another way that that the white supremacy party is a party that worships the white supremacy idol, and the white supremacy idol requires a sacrifice of blood. Here in Oregon, we're trying to wind down the war on drugs. So the state voted in an initiative, not the lawmakers, but the people of Oregon voted to legalize psilocybin, magic mushrooms. They're just mushrooms that grow in the wild, and shaman have been using them to for their stuff forever, since time immemorial, right? But it was made illegal by the U.S. government because control. Anyways, the people of Oregon voted to make it legal. However, the lawmakers in all the counties made a new law in each of their counties and passed a new initiative, a new question that said, do you want to make magic mushroom psilocybin illegal in our county? And a lot of Republican counties said yes, let's make it illegal to keep the drug war going. Like, why? Because the drug war creates violence and bloodshed, and white supremacy requires a sacrifice of violence and bloodshed. You can't have white supremacy without violence and bloodshed. The two are connected. Yeah, okay. So, right now, NASA, or not right now, but yeah, right now, there's a rocket flying that NASA launched a few days ago. Uh, this rocket is called the Artemis rocket, and they're testing it. They want to go to the moon, but they first want to see, like, to make sure that the rocket is a good rocket. So they did a test fire. They're gonna make the rocket go on the trip by itself first. And if the rocket can make the trip by itself first and come back, then they'll put humans on it and do it again. So the rocket is gonna like shoot out and fly past the moon, like way out there, and then come back. The farthest we've ever had something go out and come back, I think. Well, it's gonna be the farthest we've ever had a human go out and come back. It's gonna be the farthest. Okay, so they got this rocket, this Artemis rocket, and they're trying to launch it from Florida, but a bunch of storms and hurricanes keep flying through. So they're having a hard time. They have really small, tiny launch windows where the weather's good enough and the sky is in the right position that everything's good. So at one time, they had it loaded up and they had it filled with fuel. What is the fuel for rockets? I'm glad you asked. The fuel for rockets is liquid hydrogen. Do you know what is liquid hydrogen? Do you even know? Liquid hydrogen is what you get when you take water and you put electricity into it. And then what happens, as you know, water is made up of an oxygen and then two hydrogen next to it. If you stick electricity into the water, what happens is the extra energy breaks the bond between the oxygen and the hydrogen flies off independent by itself, and the oxygen flies off independent by itself. And both of these are very highly flammable. They're highly reactive. Well, not hydrogen, but oxygen is highly reactive. Hydrogen is highly, highly flammable. It's very light, but it's highly flammable. So in the old days, when we didn't think of it so much, in the old days, we used to use hydrogen to fill up big balloons, zeppelins, giant blimps, a ginormous balloon filled with hydrogen. We would fight in the air, and then we would have people ride on them as this giant, massive, highly flammable ball of gas moved through the air. We'd put people underneath. Invariably one day, something happened and a fire broke out and the hydrogen in the blimp caught fire. All that hydrogen, that massive ball of flammable gas caught fire and it exploded. And the thing just went down in a horrible blaze, and people died. And everyone was like, "Oh, the humanity!" Like, yeah, that's where it came from. That's where that came from. Oh, the humanity. So it's super, super flammable. A lot of energy, super flammable. Well, imagine if you take all that gas and you put it under pressure. Under pressure. Then what happens is it changes from a gas into a liquid. Now it's liquid hydrogen. Really, really flammable, super flammable, liquid, super flammable. But more of it, condensed, super flammable. Like it will blow up, super flammable. They filled this rocket full, this huge ass rocket full of liquid hydrogen. The stuff that blew up the Hindenburg, but worse. All right. They only have a small launch window to make this happen. They gotta be quick. Suddenly there's a problem. It's leaking. It's leaking liquid hydrogen. We need somebody to go in there and tighten down the nuts and bolts of this giant ass rocket while it's filled with liquid hydrogen so it stops leaking. Who's gonna do it? We're gonna call the red team. Da-da-dum! Guys show up wearing red shirts. Hi guys, we're with NASA wearing the red shirts. We're the red team. We do dangerous stuff. They had the red team go down on the launch pad while the rocket was full of liquid hydrogen leaking liquid hydrogen. They had these guys go down there with their power tools and tighten down the bolts and nuts of this massive thing while it was loaded with hydrogen. Can you imagine the nerves of steel that you have to have in order to walk onto anywhere near this thing where it's leaking highly flammable stuff? A giant ass bomb is leaking highly flammable stuff, and your job is to go on there and tighten down the bolts so it stops leaking. Wow, dude. I don't know if I could do it. I'd be freaking out the whole time. Oh my god. That's what NASA does. Dude. Oh, I'm all about it. Good job, NASA. And I think it's funny that they use the Star Trek red shirt thing for the team doing the most dangerous job. Who's most likely to die? Okay, red shirt guy. Nice. Good job, NASA. Okay, now another thing that happened in Washington was I think they finally passed the Respect for Marriage Act. But this is like a fake protection. It's sort of like the same protection you have for freedom of speech. The Respect for Marriage Act, um, all it says is that the feds can't like take away your marriage. Individual states can still bar your marriage, there's your same-sex marriage or your civil union if they don't like it. So it's not a real protection. We still need real legislation to protect the rights of people to marry who they love. Because it's ridiculous that we have this puritanical control thing about controlling who gets married. Like, it's so dumb. We want to move away from the idea of control. The idea of control is a vestige of imperialist ideology. We're moving away from that with multiracial democracy and true individualism that does not require the external control and coercion. We want freedom for everyone. But freedom for me means I don't control other people. That's the deal. If I want freedom, I can't be controlling other people. So that's the deal. That's the deal. If I want to be free, I have to respect the freedom of others. And fascists can't do that. They can't respect the freedom of others. They want freedom for themselves and control for other people. Look at the guy who shot up shot up the people in Colorado Springs. That guy chose that target because he wanted to control those people. They were acting in a way that didn't hurt him, but he felt that it didn't hurt him, but he wanted to exert control. He so that's why he killed them, to reassert social control. He basically was taken over by an agent of social control, of white supremacy. His body was taken over by an agent of white supremacy in order to reassert the control of white supremacy. That guy is obviously not free. He's obviously, if his body can be taken over by an agent of social control, then he is obviously not free. He's obviously not free. You can be free. It's possible to be free. You can do it, where your body isn't taken over by an agent of social control, and then you use your physical body to enforce social control over someone else. Like, it can happen, right? But the idea is to not let it happen, to have control over your body, to be free of agents of social control, so that others around you are able to be themselves free and not worry about you turning into an agent. Like that dude who did this. Like he did. He turned into an agent. He wasn't free. He lost control. He's not like, people fought and died to have freedom, and that guy threw it away. He's not free. Okay. So here's the thing. I tell you, my audience, to listen to my show at double speed. It's because I am redshifted. What that means is that you have to understand, light always moves at the speed of light, no matter what. It's always moving the same speed. Light can never move faster well, it can move slower, but it can never go faster than like the speed of light in a vacuum. That's the maximum speed. But the other idea is that space is constantly expanding. How can light travel the same speed if space is expanding? If you have to travel more distance, literally more distance because space is expanding, how can light keep going the same speed? The way it does it is it stretches. The wavelength of the light stretches, so it looks longer, it elongates. What that looks like to us is that the light becomes more and more red. That's called redshifting. So it's not that the source itself is red, it's just that because of the distance between you and the source, it looks red. It's just been the light has just been shifted red. It moves at the same speed the entire time, but the space has expanded. So in order to move at the same speed with expanding space, the wavelength has to stretch, and that makes it look less blue and more red. As it shrinks down and becomes elongated, it looks more red. So in other words, I'm redshifted. In order for you to get the best information in your frame, in your current time, because my source is shifted, right? My origin is back. In order to get it, you have to watch my show at double speed. Then I sound normal. When I watch my show at double speed, I sound normal. When I watch it at single speed, I sound like a really slow person. I sound like I'm slow. It's terrible. I hate it. I hate it. So I think people in real life think I'm an idiot because I speak and talk slowly. But it's just because I'm redshifted. If you double speed my stuff, I speak like a normal human being. And I'm sorry, I can't help it. That's just my thing, dude. I'm just redshifted. I can't help it. Okay. Oh my God, yes. Man. Okay. Do you know one series I really, really love? One Japanese series I really love is Evangelion. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Or Evangelion, yeah. It's a story about giant robots and stuff. But not really. It references heavily. It's basically a retelling of the Book of Revelations. That's what Neon Genesis is. It's a retelling of the Book of Revelations. And I think it's awesome that the Japanese will take material from another culture and then reimagine it through its own lens. I think that's awesome. It's like really, really like endearing. It's like endearing. It's like, man, you guys will look at us that closely? Wow, that's awesome. That's so cool. That's cool that they would look at us that closely. That's neat. And then they did it again. They did it again for Elden Ring. Have you ever played Elden Ring? Like, but basically, it has like a really interesting lore, Elden Ring. That like there was a god, and the god like worked through trees, and then people basically they die, but when they die, they don't really die. They get absorbed by the tree, and then the tree like turns them into light, and then brings them back to life again. So they go in a loop around the tree. And then they had a religion based on this, like, they had a god, Godfrey, and but they had like a bad side to it too, that like if you were like deemed unworthy, then they didn't put you in the tree to be fed back in. But you suffered forever in eternity as like just nothingness. You didn't die because you can't die, but you weren't reincarnated. You weren't regenerated because you didn't follow the rules. So you just lingered forever. So the story was that um, one of the children of the gods didn't like the setup anymore. So they murdered the dude. They murdered like the head guy, and then the realms fell into chaos after that. The um yeah, everything fractured after that. And you, as the hero of the story, the protagonist, the agency, you have the agency. You have the ability to choose like which ending you want. And one ending is to reestablish the old order. Another ending is to purify the old order before you reestablish it so that it's cool. Another ending um, is to throw away the order completely, the old order completely, and to get rid of the sun completely and go by the stars and just let it go. That's another ending. Another ending was to like worship the dead. So the people who didn't get absorbed by the tree, like if you give them life, if you give them energy, they can like continue existence. But you have to treat them as if they're like living people. And they are living people. They just don't get absorbed by the tree to be reincarnated. They're just different living people in a different kind of way. That's kind of gross. And kind of contrary to like the cycle. So it's I don't know. Instead of dying, they continue when they should be dead. I don't know. Anyways, the way I look at this, the way I see that is the Japanese retelling of the Roman Empire, the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. And you can look at Rome as being like the sun and the empire. But it had its own internal contradictions, right? Look at all the people Rome had to kill in order to have its power. Look at all the crucifixions it did. Like I walk around that world that the Japanese people made that to remind Europeans of their history, and I'm like, damn, dude, there really were lots and lots and lots and lots of crucifixions where it was like the worst way to die imaginable. They basically hung you up on a cross and left you there to exposure until you died from exposure, from either like the sun killed you or not enough water so you died of thirst, or you couldn't breathe anymore because your body like just suffocated hanging on the thing, so you just eventually died from suffocation because you're being held in a bad position. Like, it's horrible. Like, Rome was awful. So yeah, in a way it's good that it collapsed because it had done bad things. Its standards were terrible. I mean, yeah, it did good things, but it did a lot of bad things. And it did it through imperialism. That remember imperialism, that thing that's awful, control. So that's why I like Elden Ring. It's like the Japanese retelling of the Roman rise and fall. Because what are the Dark Ages? We call them the Dark Ages, but really what it is that since Rome fell, Western Rome fell, all those empires that were under Roman control became their own thing and had their own deal. Just like in the night sky, when the sun isn't overwhelming everything, you can see the individual constellations doing their thing and expressing their thing. But when the sun of Rome comes, of empire, when the sun of imperialism comes, you can't see the individuals. You only can see expressed the sun, the empire, the imperialism. So the choice is, well, do you make a better imperialism? Do you just do away with imperialism? If you do away with imperialism, you have nothing guiding you, and you have all these actors now like fighting wars against each other. Um, that's where we're at now in world history. The order that was set up under the United States after World War II has crumbled from what 1950s to like 2000. I think it crumbled. The old order crumbled. Um, and now we're at a moment where we're like we need to redefine rules. We need to redefine stuff. And I think that's why Russia is doing what it's doing. So we're doing like it's like a rebalancing act right now. That's why things feel kind of weird. And we're making our choice collectively in our new kind of Elden Ring. Do we want to reestablish American exceptionalism, American ideology? Do we want to and have a new sun? Do you want to reform the American empire so that it's not got this white supremacy in it anymore? Do you want to do away with American hegemony, and then go back to a world of like of great powers where no one's on top and everyone's kind of fighting for control of the world resources. Um, that's not so great, right? The good thing about having a superpower is that yeah, sure, it's a superpower, but there's like it enforces an order. Without an order, things are going to get hairy and kind of crazy. So, or do we descend into fascism and worship the dead? Because that's what fascism is worship of the dead. The frenzied the three fingers. The cult of the three fingers is fascism. I don't know what worship of the dead is. I don't know what that's about. It's kind of gross. I don't know. But I appreciate the Japanese retelling Western stuff through their lens, through their eyes. That's pretty cool. The same way they retold Revelations through Evangelion, they're retelling the Roman Empire through Elden Ring. That's pretty cool. So finally, this is a super long one, right? I'm sorry it's taking so long to do this one, but I want to like finally complete the synthesis. I've been teasing about it over like the course of a bunch of like episodes, but I need to like finish it. So I I want to go back to the beginning to look at why we started this trip, to remember what's going on. And one of the things I notice when we go back to the start of the trip is that patterns repeat. So that what happened in the beginning repeated or rhymed throughout history. It keeps rhyming. So if you know the pattern, then you can see what's going on. And one of the things was the balance between the 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 aristocracy and the moneyed class, the merchants. There's always a power struggle between these two. And at the fulcrum, at the middle, at the balancing point, was the farmer, because the farmer was always the object through which either the merchant class or the aristocracy expressed themselves. Like, how is there a merchant class who has power? It's because they're the ones who reap the benefit of the farmers. How did the aristocracy do what they do and create their great culture? It's because they're living off the work of the farmers, who are the fulcrum. They're the object, the thing, the thing that they control to express their great stuff. Always throughout history, that's the divide. The subject of history, which is the ruling class, and the object of history, which is the thing through which the ruling class expresses itself. That's always the balancing back and forth throughout history. The aristocracy has within it its own internal contradiction and loses power. The aristocracy, sure, it has standards. These standards are great. It's good to have standards, but they are unable to recognize excellence in other things other than itself. And it becomes ossified. Its forms of excellence become rigid, and they're unable to look past it or change. They can't change, so they become stuck in their frozen in their position, and then they lose power because they're unable to see excellence in other forms. They can't do it. If they did, they would fall apart. Instead, they become ossified. Now, contrary, you have the merchants. The merchants are great. They're able to see a good thing when they see it. You know, if another guy is doing a thing in a better way and they can make more money, they'll do it. Because, you know, who cares about the old ways? Whatever way makes the money. Whatever way makes the money. Their only standard is money. So, yeah, they're novel. They're innovative. They're flexible. They're flexible to the point where they'll fall apart because they literally have no standard other than money. Like, it's great to have the flexibility and the freedom to change and do new things, but without standards, you'll fall apart. and you'll be nothing. Which is what happens. Then they lose power. Without standards, without a connection to anything, when you lose yourself totally in power and have no standards, you'll fall apart. And you go too far into individualism. Okay, so Elon Musk is an example of a merchant class who's gone too far off the edge. He has no standards anymore. For him, his only standard is money. That $8. That's his only standard. Um, and remember, his idea is control. He wants to control people. That's why he bought Twitter, is to control it. He thought he could literally tear it open and take out the thing that makes money at Twitter. He killed the goose that lays the golden egg because he didn't understand it. He totally didn't understand it. So what it is that it's an artifact of his position. Because he placed himself so far away from other human beings due to his material relationship. He placed himself so far away from the rest of us that he can only look at us as objects. Indeed, he can only look at himself as a subject. There's no thing that connects his subjectivity to the material world. He is so far out there. He's gone. He's a material person. He's just a human, but his mind is gone. He can't connect it anymore. So that's his downfall. That's why he can't understand Twitter, because he looks at it as an object. He's not able to allow it its own subjectivity. That's where the fulcrum comes from. This endless cycle between the aristocracy and the money class, always struggling. They're always struggling over this one point, which is the farmer. And that farmer changes, like, yeah, I say farmer, but what I'm really saying is worker. And what I'm really saying is the people who live and create the world that these guys are fighting over. We are unlike the aristocracy and unlike the moneyed class, the capitalists. We are unlike them because, unlike the aristocracy, who are subjects and we are their objects, and unlike the capitalists who are ultimate subjects and we are their objects, for us, we are both. We are both. We are both the object of history and the subject. We are aware of ourselves as workers. We are aware of our relationship to material conditions. That's why I'm able to see myself connected to the migrant workers, to the slaves who were killed in making the Qatar World Cup. That's why I can see that we're connected. It's because I have synthesized the fact that I am an object and I am an individual and a subject. I have subjectivity. I have agency. I am able to resist the control of hegemony. Agents of control cannot come into my body and take control of my stuff in order to enforce their regulations. If I see an interracial couple, I'm not going to lose control of my body and go over to that interracial couple and tell them, don't be interracial couple. That's against the rules. If I see a gay couple, I'm not going to lose control of my body and have this meat sack walk over to them and enforce violence upon them to say, no, you can't be a gay couple because that's the social rules. I'm able to control my flesh. I'm able to control this thing here. I am free. I'm free from social control. But not everyone is. So I have subjectivity and objectivity. Other people, other humans around me are both subject and object. They have synthesized throughout history this duality. This duality. It's always failed before because there's an internal contradiction. The subject cannot see itself as an object, so it fails every time. Only the worker, only the proletariat, only the farmer, only the people have the capacity to see themselves both as an object and as a subject. They recognize themselves as a thing and they recognize the divinity. and every single human being and every other human being. They have risen above the duality that's imposed by imperialism, and they have freed themselves. That's what it means to be free. Now, someone can't come to me and say, "Oh yeah, gay people, black people, Jewish people, whatever people, you should hate them." Pfft, get out of here. Get out of there. Get out of here with that nonsense. You don't control me. I'm not going to control them. You see? Control. It's all about control. The Matrix has you. So get yourself free and recognize the ones around you who can be free as well. Try to save them. Ooh, wow, that was a big one. All right, I'm kind of like just talking here, but like I would love it if yeah. What else is going on? Ukraine, go Ukraine. If I were to do this again, I would like to get like other people with me to share their stories with me and to build things with me, to build their stories out. All right. All right, I think that's enough. That's like 2 hours and then some. So this is pretty good. Okay, America, thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for hanging out. Double speed. Watch this at double speed. It'll save your sanity. I'm redshifted. Okay, until next time. Pogokina out. Peace. Stop.